This is the ATI Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ATI Podcast. Barrett Lewis here. We've got Ridge Jackson sitting in once again with us, as well as Josh.
Hey.
We appreciate everybody tuning in today. We are pleased to have a guest with us, Noah from Bloodspawn. How you doing, Noah?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Doing even better that now we're getting a chance to talk to you in a little bit more of a formidable way here. And some of our listeners might know that we've already made some posts kind of semi-detailing kind of the situation that your band is in at the moment. And you guys, unfortunately, suffered some losses from the recent flooding that took place up in the St. Louis area. And so we're going to be directing folks today to your guys' GoFundMe outside of just peeling back the curtain a little bit and getting to know you and your band a little bit more.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
So let's start the conversation off with what got you into music, what drew you to writing music of this genre in particular.
Okay. Well, what got me into music in general was my family. My whole mom's side are musicians, and then my dad is a musician as well.
Okay.
And so I grew up playing music. My dad got me a drum set at 2, and ever since then it's just been...
Oh, yeah.
And so I've always been doing it off and on, but it wasn't until high school that I started getting into it again, and then I got into it very, very heavily with psychedelic music.
Okay.
What?
Modern or more classic stuff like Hendrix and...
More classic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I was listening to a lot of... what is it? Wizard or Gandalf. That's what it was, Gandalf. Listening to a lot of really old stuff. Moody Blues, Uriah Heep, Deep Purple. A lot of newer stuff like Fuzz and all of his projects. And then it got heavier and heavier. Eventually... that psychedelic turned into stoner rock, and then stoner rock turned into doom, and then from doom went into death doom, and then death metal, Yeah. And then black metal was sprinkled in there, little bits. And so I would say the band that was the catalyst for the heavy, brutal stuff would be Conan.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting into Conan.
Rules.
Yeah, I saw him in Chicago. It was freaking nuts.
Oh, wow.
Nuts. Yeah, it was at
That's sweet.
it was at Reggie's. Yeah.
Okay.
You know that dip in the floor at Reggie's? I ate absolute shit at that show. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, we got a little bit of a lag on you.
Gotcha. But yeah, at Reggie's in Chicago, I went and saw them a few years ago, and I ate shit in the middle of ate massive shit in the middle of the things, like where the drainage, the drain grate is, where it dips down.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Conan was huge. All of Black Bow, including Fister, like I was really, really, really into Fister around that time. And let's see, Primitive Man, Indian.
Oh yeah.
That whole crew.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I thought about Indian in forever.
Speaking my language.
Yeah, seriously. And then I think so. As an edgy teenager, I got into occultism, and then I found out about this band called Insanity. They're an old school death metal band, and the lead singer, he was in like the Church of Satan and shit, and then he left, and then he has a whole media page talking about everything, basically, and basically finding his band through him led me to basically Skinless, and Skinless was the turning point of getting into death metal.
Okay.
And since then, it was all about, Morbid Angel, fucking Obituary, all the classics, and then
Sure. Yeah.
there's a lot of really old demos that never saw the light of day that got reposted on Ken's Death Metal Crypt, and since then I've been going with it, and also it helps that I'm super into like Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, the Forgotten Realms books and everything. And,
I'm sure that helps with some of the storytelling with the music, gives it a little bit of inspiration. For sure.
Actually, no. Yeah, so I had found the name Bloodspawn by playing Elder Scrolls Online, and that was the armor set. It was the best armor set forever, and then they fucking changed it. And
of course.
so I was like, I got to do it. If I'm gonna write riffs, might as well have a name with it, and it was going to be all inspired by occultism and spirituality in general. And so I had written a ton of riffs, concocted like 15 minutes of music, and then I went to Craigslist and started looking for members because, I've been in St. Louis since 2014, and I still don't really know anybody. So, there's nowhere to look for people of like-mindedness. And
where did you live previously? In Chicago?
No, previously to St. Louis, I lived in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that comes out of like my childhood going into high school.
Okay.
Went to high school in St. Louis, Parkway South. I fucking hate that place. And so, I went there.
You came from Arkansas and then to high school into St. Louis? I bet you that was a wild transition.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy because, like, there's maybe 200 kids in the whole building in Arkansas, and then St. Louis is like 1,600.
Yeah.
The year that I went, it was intense. But
that's crazy.
But I moved around a lot growing up, so like I don't want to say that everybody's the same, but there are a lot of like the same faces almost everywhere. So it wasn't really too weird. Like I understood that, and so it wasn't too weird as far as like interacting with people and stuff. And that's where I started getting back into music and my friend group and everything. And,
okay. So I'm sure moving to St. Louis gave you many more opportunities too to find people of like-mindedness or similar interests, or to riff around with, or whatever, jam around with, whatever the case is too. Yeah.
I'm actually super surprised that this project has gone as far as it's gone, because we're the Craigslist band.
Yeah.
We're all randoms from like. The bass player was actually super involved in the scene back in the day, the death metal scene. Forget what bands he was in, but he's who? Harkonnen.
Oh, okay. Harkonnen, yeah, we're very familiar with them. They were very popular back in the day whenever Ridge and I were in the scene, and our buddy Jason filled in on drums for them at some point, I think.
Really?
Maybe on some recordings. Yeah, Jason Asbury.
Okay, so basically all of their side projects, or their projects from the 90s, I think that from what Brent was saying, there's 2 or 3 main death metal bands around here at the time. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But he's all friends with them, so I'm pretty sure we all have mutual friends.
Yeah.
But I'm super surprised that we all came together the way we did, because originally I had hit up both of them off of Craigslist. I met with Brent first at Utopia, and I showed him all my riffs for the original Bloodspawn, and he learned them all. Very good musician. And then after that, I think it was COVID. I think COVID hit, and then we stopped communicating because I guess the world didn't know what to do at the point.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
So basically, almost a full year later, Nigel, the drummer, he contacts me back. Hey, I got free time now. Let's jam. And so within the first month of us meeting, we had made the song Flesh and the song Bone. I had made the concept of Flesh, Bone, Blood for the first release because it had ties to like animal alchemy. And in animal alchemy, you separate the flesh, the bones, and the bloods and purify them to their base essence and all that for necromancy. Super edgy. And so
We're here for it.
and so I was pitching it to Nigel after we made the songs, and me and Nigel we joke about everything. We just make everything a joke. And so instead of purifying them to their base essence to like commit necromancy, you just get high. This is smoke the flesh, smoke the bone, drink the blood, whatever. And so
Get loaded.
that kind of theme is kept on, and we have
Very cool.
We have 6 songs titled Human Spliff, and so
Very good.
it's all about smoking humans to get high. That's pretty much what it's turned into.
I love it.
I love it. Sick concept. I love it.
So I would suppose that, with these themes, it's actually probably helping with the creativity, though, in crafting these songs for you guys, too. It's making it fun.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's more engaged on multiple levels. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Multiple levels. And then we even have like a gore grind project. It's not recorded or written or anything, but we got the song names. They're pretty goofy. And it follows along the same lines.
There you go.
So
Hell
we'll
yeah.
see if that ever happens. But yeah, we had made Flesh and Bone, and then whenever we finally got to the recording process, we had made Blood on the spot. That was one of those like 15-minute songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he was playing drums. I was recording him play drums, just warming up, and found a section. I'm like, oh shit, stop what you're doing. Wrote riffs, and he's like, oh shit, stop what you're doing. and then he basically played the full drum track, and then I added the guitars onto it, without the song fully written, and that's what it turned into.
That's awesome, man.
Oh God, that would be wild. That is
Yeah.
wild. I would not want
Then
to
you
do
have
that.
to go back and remember what you wrote. So you can play it live. Yeah, that's always the challenge there.
Yeah. The whole goal with us is to keep it as simple as you can, without making it monotonous. And of course, you're going to have some monotony with songwriting, but we try and stay in that 3.5 minutes maximum per song kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, nowadays it's hard with people's attention spans trending shorter and shorter, too.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and the live music scene, I don't think anybody really knew what it would be or might be after COVID as well, especially in our areas. St. Louis is typically a little bit more, leans on the Democratic side of things more times than not, and are a little bit more aggressive with some of the COVID protocols and things of that ilk. So nobody really knew that it would come back. I feel like it's come back very strong because there's been a lot of, issues with booking shows, even, touring bands that are trying to get dates 6 months out. St. Louis was already booked.
Just like vaccine checks and shit like that. I mean, it's very complicated, I'm sure.
Yeah, that stuff. Basically, that's why it took us so long to get out playing shows, is because two of us can't get vaccinated, like per doctor's orders.
Right.
As pre-existing conditions, can't get vaccinated, it'll stop your heart. So we've been having to sit on the sidelines basically this whole time, and we've met a lot of really cool people though. I can't be more thankful, because everybody's super cool. Super cool.
So I know that you guys had some shows in the works, prior to the event that took place. What can you tell us about what kind of shows you guys did have in the forecast previously? What venues you guys were going to play, that sort of thing. So, there's people too. We're going to probably have a few casuals that drop in, and kids that might be interested in playing this type of music, and we really need to know that there's venues out there that are fostering this type of environment.
Yes. So the next show we had booked was with Soprogenous, Coagulate, and Varlock in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then that Monday we were going to come down and play with Sadistic Ritual. And I forget who else was on the bill. And then we had one booked in September with Shitstorm Trooper, Daybringer. I think it was Daybringer, or might have been the other project. And then someone else I can't remember. Path of Might, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think Swamp Lion. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. But had that show booked. I was in the process of booking Moiscus. We were going to play Moiscus in September as well. And I love Moiscus. They're so fucking sick. It's probably one of my favorite bands right now.
I need to get into it. I haven't gotten there yet.
Man.
I don't know. I'll give it a shot.
It's like one of the things you got to delve into, I guess.
You got to watch the drum cam. You got to watch the drum cam to get it. Because, dude, I forget his name. Dude playing drums, he's an absolute monster. The way he approaches drumming is very interesting. There's only one other guy that I can think of off the top of my head, and he's on the other side of the world, that does stuff similar to that.
Yeah.
Snare tone, perfect. Yeah. Best snare tone ever. And,
speaking of drum cams, I've been all about watching the drummer from Full of Hell's drum cams lately. That guy is a fucking monster, too.
Dude, yeah, he is nuts. He goes freaking nuts. His other band, Jarhead Fertilizer, they're super sick. Their album, most recent album, is, to me, a masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
Especially coming from, they used to be just like a traditional grind band and stuff, and then they developed the death metal stuff, and
took it to another level.
Yeah.
So I think I listened to the debut that they put out, and it was just mostly grind. So I'll have to check out. I haven't listened to anything past that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's way more death metal. Way more double kicks. Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
it's kind of cool to see that coming back too, because it seemed like, you know what I mean? It kind of seemed like everybody was kind of stepping away from that for a while.
Yeah, kind of the boom of it, I think, was kind of like late 90s into the mid 2000s, and it started to kind of die off.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's kind of nostalgic sound, so it's cool to hear it coming back and getting popular again.
Yeah, man. Let's see.
Yeah.
So to circle back to your other question earlier, what brought me up was basically Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, a lot of alternative rock. A lot of it was dictated by the adults and everything. So your Alice in Chains and your Creed and your Stained and
Yeah, man.
I actually grew up in Jefferson County, so it's like that's
Yeah, we're about the same down here in St. Francis County.
Yeah,
County. It's not far
two
off.
sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I was born in Festus, and moved around all around Jefferson County, and then went to Arkansas and came back. And so, let's see. Whenever I got into guitar, it was 7 years old. When I got my first guitar, it was a Squier Mini Strat, and I had learned all Black Sabbath riffs and Metallica riffs. All right. And that probably did me the best than I would have imagined, because especially whenever I got into the Doom stuff, it was all, Sabbath riffs.
Right, absolutely.
And, Sabbath 1 through 6. Slick.
Yeah.
Play that when I die.
Yep.
Yeah. Start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we've actually got a few questions coming in on Twitch. Josh pointed out one to me earlier. Josh, you want to read the question?
It says, question for Bloodspawn. What product do you use on your hair? And follow-up question, do you use spawn of blood to condition it?
No. To be honest, this is sweat.
So you heard it first, guys. You heard it first. And then also, somebody wanted to let you know they're watching it from Pilot Knob.
Oh, okay.
So
Not
nice.
too far from here, so there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
What, high school area?
Yeah, high school area. Yep.
Man.
So, anybody who hasn't checked out Bloodspawn yet today, if you're catching this audio drop that comes in our regular podcast feed later, you will get a chance to hear a Bloodspawn single that Noah was so kind to offer the show to use to help promote their music as well. So, but I'm sure between now and then, you can go to many outlets. A lot of people have Spotify, for example. They can be found on Spotify. You guys have a Bandcamp as well, right? No.
Yep. Yeah, we're everywhere.
So, you guys got any special merch or anything available on your Bandcamp right now that people could purchase as well?
We did. We had, not on our Bandcamp. We had the rest of the cassette drop from Corpse Gristle. We had run out of cassettes. I posted one batch, and they all sold out, and he sent them to me. I had yet to post them. We also just, got shirts in, and then the flood kind of ruined all of that.
Right.
So all those tapes are gone.
To get one, though.
Yeah.
Seriously,
it's one of the last in existence.
Hell yeah.
Super
one
exclusive.
Of a kind.
Yeah. Better check the price on Discogs later.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It's super comfy. I'm not gonna get rid of it.
We mentioned Fister earlier. Whenever last time I talked to Marcus, he was telling me how some of their singles were going up like insanely on Discogs. He wouldn't have believed, some of the limited runs that they do. But sometimes
that 10-inch that they did.
Sometimes you get that exposure too through certain mediums, though, like streams or whatever the case is. One thing I did notice about your band is I saw you guys on several different like tape streams or recommended on social media by other folks too. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed a bump in maybe listens or exposure or people reaching out to you a la these streams or these recommendations?
From the beginning or recently?
Well, really at any point. I guess what I noticed was mostly in the last 18 months or so, but my timeline could be off.
Yeah, thanks to a lot of really cool people. Hold on, I gotta get my list out. Gotta get my list.
I know. I found out about you guys from a Warflurch stream, and you had commented something like from St. Louis or something like that, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta check this out." And then I went to your page and seeing there's a death metal, a going pretty decent death metal band in St. Louis, and I was like, okay, I gotta check this out, and listen to it, and I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude, shout out Mike. Shout out Mike from Warflurch. Shout out Dismal Fate Records. Shout out Corpse Crystal Records. Shout out May Vizzle. Shout out Night Shift Merch. There's a bunch. I'm looking. Okay, 618-314 Underground. Thank you guys. Primitive Pathologist, Dirt Riffs, Midwest Morning, VM Underground, Raw and Extreme Magazine. Thank you guys. Yep. You guys.
Oh, yeah.
Also, many people. There's whenever we released the 3 tracks on Bandcamp, we posted on Bandcamp before we did posted them on DistroKid. We used DistroKid to put them on all the platforms.
Right.
And so I was insanely surprised how receptive everybody was to the Bandcamp release. Mm-hmm. Because I had that was the only marketing run that I did. I did 5 days. We had made a bunch of memes of ourselves making fun of ourselves, and then posted them, and then everybody starts reposting them, posting them on their stories and everything, mostly just Instagram. And then I think the first week there's like 400 reposts, and most of our following came from that 1 week. And then since then, it's just been climbing, you know.
It's so good to hear, man.
Yeah,
so many
it's all DIY too. Yeah, seriously. It's like
what was that
straight.
Oh. How many pressings has the tape went through? Because I know Dismal Fate pressed it first, didn't they?
Yeah, Dismal Fate pressed it first. They did the all white and all white and black, and then Corpse Gristle did the second pressing, and then they included I call it the flesh because it's kind of pink, and then the blood, and that's the see-through red one. But I would like to get another. I would like to get as many as I can because printing them myself is insanely fucking expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Insanely expensive. I would love to do like 7 inches too. 7 inches would be super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember back in the day whenever we would make even CD sleeves and stuff, just the insane cost that you go through in ink, and ink itself is obscene. But
It
fortunately,
doesn't last, right?
no.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I was able to do a lot of that through work. So
Nice.
Well, yeah, one time we just like sat in Jake's garage and just like cut freaking cases out for like I don't know how many hours just
And
drinking
spray
beer and fucking when we spray painted.
yeah, we spray painted CDs, and then we like painted some of them with like nail polish, and then we did like custom designs on like 5 different CDs.
Oh yeah, and then you'd have that random person, hey, you fucked up my CD player.
Yeah, because they would like
It would get hot and like the nail polish would run and get inside the CD player.
Yeah. Not a good deal.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
But DIY stuff, we were always really into that sort of stuff. We've been talking about your music as well that's recorded out there digitally for everybody to consume. And then obviously you have the physical media with the tapes that are in circulation currently. But I don't want to jump the gun too much. Where did you guys record? Did you guys self-track? Did you guys do this at a studio in St. Louis? What was the approach?
So literally we got a computer. We had an interface. We bought a bunch of mics and recorded it ourselves. And then I mixed and mastered all of it. The one thing that I did do that I didn't like that I did was DI guitar tracks. There were no live guitar cabs, and I'm really kicking myself in the butt about it because we have a 1984 JCM 800 lead series, and that's what I play out of, and I did not get any recordings off of that other than the solos. So all the solos on there are JCM 800, and then the rest are JCM 800 VST, and then a 5150 VST. And super
It's
kicking
thick,
myself
though.
in the butt about that. Yeah,
It still sounds big.
It's good, and I love
awesome,
the
yeah.
reverb on the drums. Like I don't know what your drum situation was when you were recording that, but I just like
it was
the
all
sound of
dry.
it.
Yeah, that's reverb's all post. Yep.
And what type of mics were you using on the drums?
The drums, we had a shitty CAD mic kit. It was a CAD kick drum mic.
Yeah.
Tom mics, and I think we had 157 on the snare, and then 2 CAD pencil mics overhead. And then I can't remember if I put a room mic in or not. I put a room mic in.
Well, that definitely helps with natural reverb in the room too.
Yeah, the room mic is where it's at. That's where you want to squash everything. And then let's see, the room mic, I used a AT 2035. Actually, I have it right here. This guy.
Oh yeah,
put this guy on a shock mount and stuffed him in a corner.
Yeah,
and that's how we did it. But there's still mud and shit on these, but these are what we use to record. Toms.
Oh god, man.
Yeah, those are those old school CAD Tom mics.
Yeah,
I've used some of those before.
Yeah, and so I actually put these on the bottom to get the boom, and then I use the overheads to fill in the tops. I do something similar with snare. The snare mic is a dark tone, and then all the brights are overhead.
I like it,
and
it helps add separation to the sound. And I like your approach of miking below the drums as well. Ridge and I just saw Failure a couple months ago, and they had a very unique miking arrangement on the drums. I've never seen drums mic'd as heavily as they had them, but they had several different mics on the bass drum, as well as the toms on the lower shell too. But
wow.
They were thunderous. I mean, they were the loudest thing in the place.
Wow. Yeah. If we're being real, I'm an audio engineer first, and then a musician. I can't play guitar well, I'm a bass player at heart, and I can play guitar, but for realsies, I'm an engineer.
Hell yeah.
Rather than a musician or artist or whatever.
Well, I think your guys' recordings sound great, especially for the genre. It's kind of hard to have an overall unique sound or tone in your recordings that translate through, and I think some of your approaches has actually allowed that to shine through on your recordings.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was super surprised with how it all got together. Super thankful, and I think it's going to be one of those sounds that'll probably define the rest of my musical career, for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened with the flood getting the weeds there too. I know we've alluded to it several times here, and I'm sure some of the folks that are probably watching or listening now have seen some of our social media posts that we've talked about. I know that you guys, in what I read at least or saw posted, a lot of your musical equipment was in the basement of the home. Is this your drummer's home?
Yeah, this is Nigel's home. All of our gear was in the basement.
Damn, man.
All of it, yeah. Except for the... this is actually pretty fun. Except for this USB stick, which has the new album that I have yet to work on because we don't have anything. And then my Warrior.
Nice.
So that is... Those are the only two things that weren't in there, and I had gone and got them the day before because I finished all the guitar tracks that day and was gonna go back the next day and reamp the DI tracks into the JCM 800. So
and Mother Earth was like, "Fuck that."
Yeah. And then the Earth and what really happened is the sewer system fucked up. Whoever was working the controls. Whoever was working the controls at the sewer, they had... I don't know if I should talk about it.
Well, let me ask you this: have you guys? I've also seen here recently, Riverfront Times just did a piece where some of the insurance companies are trying to tell people that they didn't actually endure a flood. I don't know if your drummer's home was insured in any way, but has he had any issues that you're aware of with insurance companies?
Yeah, there are some issues. It's in a flood zone, and basements aren't covered in flood zones, and the square footage isn't even covered under a flood zone. So you could have like a 700 square foot house, but it could actually be a 1,400 square foot house, but it's just in a flood zone and the basement's not included, you know?
Oh, wow.
So,
That's shitty, man.
yeah, it's a total loss. It started around, I think, if I remember right, 3 a.m. they woke up, and around 8 o'clock in the morning is whenever they had all the water pumped out. So it was about 4 or 5 hours of just soaking. And so,
Dear God.
yeah, I stopped myself, but actually I don't think it's gonna do any harm. The sewer system, whoever was working controls forgot to put everything back on automatic before he went home.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
So
shit.
all of that water came up from everybody's storm drains.
Unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily. And
Wow.
and so the sewer people actually never came to help, and the neighborhood, pretty much the entire neighborhood got what's it called when your house isn't livable?
Like
Condemned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
condemned. Damn.
They condemned 51 homes and kicked everybody out of their home.
Holy fuck.
Dear
man.
God.
Yeah, somebody needs
So-
to answer for that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No question.
And the reason why I know about the controls thing is because somebody I know saw it on a police report.
Ah.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why I was like, I don't know if I should talk about it, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
it's-
if it's not already common knowledge, it's just a matter of time.
Right.
yeah,
I
seriously.
mean, I don't really frequent the local news, but that just seems like a piece that is just waiting to be published if it hasn't already.
Right.
Yeah, and the sewer's taken names and information of who all was affected by it. They're saying they're going to give everybody a bunch of money, but back in 2008, the same thing happened, and they didn't. Nobody got any money. In 2008, they were actually way more forceful about the condemnations. They would actually
Yeah.
stand outside the house with horns, bullhorns, or
Yeah.
saying, you know, if there's anybody in this house, you need to leave now, or else we're coming in and getting you, basically.
Yeah.
And so they forcibly took people from their own home. So
But one would have to think, perhaps, though, back on that occasion, too, and this is just me being hopeful, that maybe there's been some subsequent, like, litigious things take place, you know, like lawsuits and what have you, and maybe they know now what they need to do to get ahead of this, and perhaps they will eventually help compensate, but that doesn't do anything for anybody right now, obviously. People don't have
Yeah.
homes.
Right, right.
And particularly in your guys' case, even further unique is the fact that not only was your drummer's goods damaged and lost, the bandmates were as well. So,
Right.
yeah, I assume bass rig, obviously the drummer stuff, all your stuff with the exception of your guitar and your USB cable you just showed us. That's a lot. And recording stuff, I would imagine,
Right.
too. Maybe
Yeah.
interfaces.
yeah, around $25,000.
Holy
Good
fuck,
Lord.
man. Yeah, that's
So-
crazy.
Yeah.
All we can do now, we're getting the tiles in the basement tested to see if they're what's it called? Oh, what is Sleep's old band?
Oh, Ohm. No.
No, the
No,
other
no,
one.
no.
Asbestos.
Mhm.
So we're getting the tiles tested to see if they're asbestos. If they're not, we're gonna throw rugs down, build some dividers and shit, put some foam and carpet and stuff on them, and rehearse so we can at least play shows.
Right.
I sadly have had to turn down like 2 shows in the past week. Abraded's coming with Corrupted Saint on the 27th, and they're like, "Hey, we really, really want you guys on it." I'm like, "Bro, you don't understand.
We want to be on it, we just can't. Right?
We want to be. You can use our gear. I'm like, bro, we haven't practiced in 6 weeks because of this. Like,
Right.
So we're taking it day by day, and as the days go by, it's becoming a little easier to deal with. In no way, shape, or form is it easy.
No.
But the whole week, that whole week, I don't know how I'm not sick, because I was swimming around in that freaking lake water or creek water, whatever it is, river water. And because the neighborhood's all old people and there's nobody coming to help them, right? So, if you see someone outside struggling with a big piece of furniture after they just got flooded out, you go help them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So that's basically what I was doing all week, that week, and I did not get sick. I was so surprised.
For sure.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
It's smoking all that flesh, man.
Yeah, it's smoking all them fucking humans.
It's the key to the white blood cell count, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You did get to play a great show, though, before that. When you played with Obscene and Mortis Gold.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
how
that was
that?
a sick time, man. That was super sick. It was a really good energy for a first show. I don't think we messed up at all.
Hell yeah.
And we even popped out with a couple new riffs, like on the spot, little jam session, and then into the rest of the set. It was a really, really cool vibe. There was a lot of really cool people there. Shout out Lauren Gornick. I don't know if she'll see this or not, but I had sent her a package and it got sent back to me. And just to prove I have not forgotten about it, I still got one of the only tapes and shirts in existence. So,
Hell yeah, man.
so
Where did you guys
soon
play the show at? Did you guys play at the Sinkhole or?
at the Platypus.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
a really cool vibe. Really cool
Oh, yeah.
vibe.
I was
really
bummed
excited.
I missed that one because my daughter I think she got strep that time.
I
She had
remember you
strep-
telling me,
She
yeah.
had strep like 4 times in a row. But
Yeah.
I was like getting ready and then already planned on going, and then that day, she got sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
I was
happens.
really pumped to see Obscene. Like,
Yeah, dude.
and you
they're
guys.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mortal Skull guys were super cool. I had listened to them whenever I was first getting into death metal. You go through the history and everything, and I was listening to them a lot, actually. And so it was pretty surreal to be in the same room with them, and then also play music before them, also with them staring at my soul.
Right. Yeah. Nerve-wracking. Yeah.
And so that was really cool. All the people were sick. All the people were super cool. There was no bad energy. And, I'm really thankful for everybody that came out.
Yeah, that makes for a perfect night when everything is just right. You know what I mean?
Yep. I got fucking hammered.
That's a nightcap there.
Yeah, nightcap. Exactly. Yep.
I've noticed the Platypus has had several heavier shows too here recently. I think old Tony Saputo's involved in that from Lie by Mistake at that restaurant.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Tony Saputo was in Lie by Mistake, and actually I think Past Life Tiger's getting ready to play a show there again, and he's a pretty cool guy. Old Tony Saputo. I don't know if you ever heard Lie by Mistake from back in the day. They're a St. Louis band. 3-piece.
Lie by Mistake. I have not.
Yeah.
I really don't know of anybody really except for Animated Dead. They're all old mutual friends of Brent, and he's been. I think once we get going, he's going to try and hook us up with them. I think we have I think we'll be either doing a tour or something very intense, but split up, because we all have careers and shit. Can't really take 4 weeks off at a time to go play every other night. And so I think we're going to take the weekends and focus on certain areas, cities or states. And Soprogynous, we're actually pretty fucking close with Soprogynous. Nigel and the guitar player grew up together in Kansas, and they were in the scene together. And So they go way back, and I think we're gonna set up a run of shows with them, and then Dark Druid, Haxton, Scab Hag in Ohio. They want us to come up there really bad, so I think we're gonna have to go up there this time.
Hell yeah!
And
be
reciprocate
sweet.
the respect,
Yeah.
And then Ritual Fog in Tennessee. We need to go see them, go play with them. Morbid Visions, need to go play with them. Moiscus, need to go play with them. I was really bummed that I couldn't get the show to work for them. I couldn't find a venue. And so that was a little bummer, but they said don't worry about it. There will be more opportunities and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So.
We've got a buddy out near Asheville, Nathan Landhold, who's in Harsh Realm. I don't know if you've had a chance to hear them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Nathan used to be a big guy around the St. Louis scene back in the day, too. Champaign, Illinois, really was kind of his area. Had the old Air Records and so on and so forth. But hopefully Nathan hears this and he can hook you guys up with something out in Asheville, too, if you guys are willing to go out that far.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, man. That would be sick as fuck. That would be super sick. We're all about it.
Yeah, I know Asheville in particular is oddly starting to be a huge booming city for music in particular. They got kind of a crazy music scene going on right now, and they're one of the fastest growing cities in all the United States. So, might be some opportunities out there.
Yeah, Asheville.
You wouldn't think it.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Another one exactly like that is Little Rock, Arkansas. I was like, what the fuck? I just got. Just and now it's been years, but
yeah, man. We wanted to go see Ken Mode really bad. The closest place that they're coming is probably Little Rock, Arkansas. And it's kind of equidistant to a lot of other places like Nashville. Mm-hmm. I think I checked out a few others, but Arkansas area. I was going to ask you earlier where you grew up down there because I got a lot of family from the Pocahontas area actually.
Oh, okay. We lived in Harrison, 30 minutes from Branson. We would always be over in Mountain Home area. My brother lives in Fayetteville. Yeah. So yeah, up in the northern part of Arkansas, basically. Yeah.
Right. So it's a bit of a drive, but not out of question from here.
Yeah.
What had you guys moving around so much, if you don't mind me asking?
I grew up in a split family and poverty. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
Heard that. We moved around a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think we can all kind of share in those stories. That's kind of why, I lost my home in the flood of '93 up in, I lived in West Alton, Missouri. And my dad had family down in Perryville. My mom had family in Ironton. And that kind of brought us down here in '93, '94. And we've just kind of bounced around these small towns the whole time. Ironton, Arcadia Valley, Putnam, places like that. But, we still had a lot of family up in St. Louis. So we were always pretty familiar with what was going on in St. Louis and trying to stay connected up there too.
Yeah, actually, almost my entire dad's side lives over in the St. Genevieve, Ironton area.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Same neck of the woods almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I only live about 8 miles from Ironton. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
And that's where Ridge and I graduated from high school, too.
Nice. So. Okay. Yeah. That's where my cousin graduated from high school as well.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Small world.
Yeah, seriously.
So how long's the band been together, Bloodspawn? You guys, I know there's a little bit of a layoff with COVID, but technically it sounds like you guys got together before that. Is this 2019, 2018 you guys got together?
End of 2019
was
whenever I hit both of them up. And I think it was January of 2020 is when I met Brent. And then I believe it was August or September of 2020 that I met Nigel. And so, with us kind of sitting out, we should have been writing, but it's kind of good that we didn't, just so we could let this 3 tracks kind of settle, stir, run its course type of deal, and then go from there. Because I wouldn't know how to handle it if I got this EP going nuts. I got to do a bunch of orders for these and all that, and then I got this one that just came out and it's blowing up in the same rate, and I got to do orders for all that, and then interviews and everything. And I was doing school full time around then, so I mean, I wouldn't have been able to swing it. Actually, school is a big part of why we have not written a lot of music within the 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. What are you majoring in? Are you audio engineer or?
No, my majors are in residential HVAC and major appliances.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. My dad does HVAC, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, my
Nice.
stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah. Shoot.
He works for, I don't think it's called St. Cobain anymore, but it's up off 55 there in Peevely. It's the big factory on the right. He works on like the kilns and stuff. They make beer bottles for Anheuser-Busch and different companies, stuff like that.
Oh, shit. So he does boilers and stuff.
Yeah. He works on all the hot shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Type 3 appliances. Friggin'
Right.
Yeah. I think Scott Trade Center has 2 giant boilers underneath the whole thing. All the HVAC guys, they have to go underground to go work on those, and those are $1 million a piece.
Oh, man. I couldn't imagine being slipping around on wires inside one of them things.
Oh, dude, you got to be making $500,000 a year doing that. Like, shit.
HVAC is a very skilled trade, and it's always hard to find good people at it. Honestly, like I manage several different commercial real estate properties, and finding good HVAC people is always hard to come by. There's a lot of jokesters in the scene.
Yeah,
in the trade.
yeah. I don't know any good companies down there. I don't know any companies down there, but up here, Hoffman Brothers. If you ever need anything residential, Hoffman Brothers are the dudes. Those are Hoffman Brothers are basically all of the old guys that used to do commercial, like your dad does. All the old guys, basically bodies breaking down. They can't, carry 100-pound compressors up 20 stories type shit. Yeah. And so they'll all funnel down to what did I just say? The fucking
residential areas.
Hoffman Brothers. They'll all funnel down to Hoffman, and Hoffman's really good because they hire Rankin grads. So they got like the experts
program.
Right. They got the experts, and then they got the new guys, and the experts are able to help the new guys properly. And then you don't get shitty people that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I ventured into the appliance field just because I wanted to learn the politics without having to possibly mess something up that is like $20,000. And, take that stress away and learn how the service industry really works type of deal. And then
that's a whole racket in and of itself.
Yeah, that's almost a whole other 2-year course. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Rankin was really fun. I was never a school guy. I tried to drop out of high school and they wouldn't let me, so they made me do Missouri options and get my diploma that way. But going to Rankin, you got to be interested in it and you got to take it seriously. But
it's a little bit more trade focused there too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much more. I honestly would go back again if I needed to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I've heard good stuff about Rankin.
Yeah.
So
I've heard some.
That's another interesting thing too that you brought up is, not having the ability to take all that time off to kind of tour at the moment because you guys all have careers too. A lot of people don't realize this, that even some of the more popular bands, I mentioned Kinbo earlier, they're only doing a 3-week tour because they all have jobs too.
Right.
And they're from Canada. So people don't understand the hoops that, these guys got day jobs. And while this might be a side hustle, it doesn't mean that it's not in the dreams of being, your primary focus in life or career, if you will. Right. But everybody's got to make that cheddar in between.
Right, exactly. It's basically taking all of your vacation and personal time out to go tour.
Right.
That's kind of a bummer, especially when you have like a wife and kids and stuff, and that, you know, that's especially difficult because most of the time you have other family that's in another state, and you got to take time off to go visit them and all that.
Right.
Yeah, totally get it.
You guys rock, I guess, as a 3-piece all the time. Is that right? Or you guys have more members than that?
So we have been a 2-piece. Me and Nigel have been a 2-piece this entire time up until I think February of this year. We had Brent. We had went to the Nile Incantation Sanguisugabog show, and then he was there, and I had my Bloodspawn shirt on. I was like, "Holy shit, where have you been?" You know, so I'm trying to look for people to jam with still. I'm like, just come on by, because it's really funny because I met Brett. I met Brent before I met Nigel, and Nigel met Brent before he met me. All in the same conversation, and then so we all meet and then split off, and then we all come back. It's freaking hilarious.
As well.
Strange hand that fate has dealt you all.
yeah, seriously. But we tried out a bunch of people. I think we've tried out close to 10 in the year or two span of coming out with the EP, and it's really difficult. It's hard to find other people that'll just show up and play.
Right.
You know?
Right. Mm-hmm. Is the intent to stay lean and mean, stay a trio, or are you looking to add to the band or anything of that ilk?
I think that's it. Three piece.
It works, man.
Yeah, I don't think Bloodspawn is one of those projects where you need other people. I mean, of course, I could use a rhythm section so I could rip solos on Flesh, Bone, and Blood, but all of Human Spliff, I don't think is going to have any solos. At least for the first 4 tracks, there are no solos at all, and so it's all riffs, very bass driven. This one's going to be way more bass driven, and Conan basically.
Yeah,
Conan. Yeah, if you mix like Conan and Dying Fetus, that's pretty much what it's going to sound like. If you can imagine that, I don't know.
Yeah, I can. So, with you guys staying lean and mean, that kind of actually helps you in the long game too. Whenever you guys do get those opportunities to go on tour, and you don't have to as many mouths to feed, and
accommodate to as many schedules.
Exactly, accommodate as many schedules. Low overhead in the sense that you guys could probably get away with sleeping in a van and things of that ilk too.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and thankfully we make just enough to where we don't have to worry about that. But I totally get it with other people, especially whenever it's like 4, maybe 5 people, and you don't have money to go to a hotel, and you have to sleep 5 people in one van. That's rough. That's super rough.
Especially if you're sleeping with a fucking snorer like Ridge.
Yeah, Ridge.
No, I just make really weird like cat noises and
whimpering.
Yeah,
these weird whimpers.
I do some weird stuff when I sleep. I don't know why. Like,
your shadow awakens.
True form takes shape.
True form.
I woke up the other morning and I didn't have any clothes on, and I had no idea how that happened.
You're like, wife, did I touch you last night?
I asked her,
dude.
I was like, what happened last night? She was like, nothing. And I was like, why was I naked?
So what kind of nothing does that mean?
Great distinct. We're taking a look at our Twitch chat here to see if we got any more questions for you before we move on to the next question from us here in house.
Okay.
Just mostly comments.
Yeah, we got mostly comments. Josh has done a good job of promoting, once again, the GoFundMe URL in the chat today, so a lot of folks have gotten an opportunity to take a look at that. And my next question is, we've talked about the gear that you did have and, some of the gear that you would have preferred to record your live tracks with the JCM 800, excuse me. What kind of gear did you guys have, prior to the event, and were you guys really married to the gear that you were using?
Yes, we were super married to the gear that we had. And so, let's see, 1984 JCM 800 came from Sony Studios in England 20 years ago.
Holy shit.
Nigel. Yeah, Nigel's dad actually used to book a lot of shows in like the 70s and 80s. He's booked like Led Zeppelin and shit before, and he booked Slipknot's. He booked Slipknot's first show at the Red Rocks before they were famous. Like when they
Holy
had
shit.
Mate Feed, Kill, Repeat.
Yeah.
They played Iowa because they had just gotten Corey in, so they were playing Iowa to nobody at the Red Rocks.
Wow.
And,
Holy shit.
Yeah, to nobody at the Red Rocks. And then the next year they came back and sold it out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so shit like that. A lot of old bands, like Jefferson Airplane, and so a lot of those classic rock bands. And so Nigel's dad took Nigel and his brother out to England to get it. They went to Sony Studios, went to the warehouse, and they picked out a guitar amp and a drum set. And drum set isn't here anymore. I think it's in the garage in Kansas, but it was a Tama Grand Star black.
Wow.
And so what we had in the basement was a Yamaha Stage Custom. I think it was the Indonesian model whenever they made them in Indonesia.
Yeah.
It had like the maroon stain on it, no gloss. So it was super slick. I don't think it took up much water. It may be salvageable, but we'll see what happens when we get there.
Yeah.
Snare drum was a Japanese Yamaha copper 4-inch piccolo. Super sick. Sounds amazing. Probably the best snare I've ever heard. Bass amp. We were using just a Harkey XL 810, and then Brent, he has actually he has a full rig at home, and he uses the dark glass amps.
Hell yeah.
So he just got one of those, and it sounds killer. Plugged it in, sounded perfect. Didn't touch it. And then a PA
particular
system.
cab choices?
I really like oranges. I really like orange cabs. Anything else, I like it with a greenback.
Okay.
It has to have greenbacks. If it's like a slanted anything, it has to have greenbacks. But
That's what
orange
my cab's filled with.
greenbacks, yeah.
Yeah, I just got 4 greenbacks in it, but they're blown to hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna buy. I'm either buying 8 or 12 because we have 3 Marshall cabs that need to be fully redone. Thankfully, the cabs didn't take much water, so I think all we need to do is get new boards for the back, get new cabs, get new speakers, get new outlet jacks, and basically build it. But the skeleton, like the bones, I think are fine. Whenever you knock on them, it doesn't sound waterlogged. So I have no idea why it is the way it is, but I think it's good. And then
well, that Tolex probably, are they wrapping Tolex? Probably help repel some of the water from soaking into.
Yeah, so one of them was the matching 800, and then 2 of them were just your normal 1960A JCM 900 cabs with the G12Ts in them. Not a huge fan of the G12Ts. There's not enough low end. So what I'll be doing is putting greenbacks and everything. I run a stereo guitar rig, so I'll have the main amp, and then I'll have another cab with another amp, and that's what thickens everything up. Because whenever you play just with one cab and then one bass amp,
you get lost in the sound a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't really do it. Kind of takes one testicle away, and then you add the second cab, and it brings it back, and then it got a set. And so
you're finally a whole man.
Yeah, seriously, finally a whole man. I'm a real man, and so I took the 800 and my Ampeg V4B to Killer Vintage to have the amp tech look at him. He's rebuilt the 800 for us once before, so if he can do it once, he can do it again, type of deal. I'll pay him whatever it takes. And the V4B, I don't think anything's wrong with it, but I took it just in case. And then, depending on what the verdict is for those, I'll bring the 900, because we also have a 900. And, whenever it gets to the point of setting back up, I'll be using the 800 and the 900 stereo.
Very cool. Nice. Not to make too hard of a shift here, and I didn't mean to gloss over it earlier, you'd mentioned once you got into your teenage years, you were kind of fascinated with, got into the occult, and I always enjoy occult talk. So what led you down that path a little bit more so, and do you still kind of visit those materials and those things today?
So I was raised Southern Baptist Christian, and as you can assume, it was extremely repulsing. Basically, once I hit my teenage years, I was desperately trying to make sense of the universe, basically. And I know it's impossible to, but having some sort of footing is a good place to start. And so I had gotten into Alan Watts, started listening to a lot of Alan Watts. He's not in occultism necessarily, but he does a lot of like the magical speak, you know. And so that was awesome. Honestly, Jordan Peterson talking about Carl Jung. Carl Jung is a huge inspiration. And then from there, it developed into Hermeticism and the Golden Dawn. Because you're into it, hold on, I got something for you.
This should be fascinating.
All right. Golden Dawn by Israel Regardie, volumes 1 through 4, plus Garden of Pomegranates. And there was a previous owner of this book, Wes Ginder, Ginder, and he has annotations all over this thing. Let's see if I can.
Dude,
that's find some. Dude.
He's got bookmarks in here. He's got bookmark here for diagrams, meditation. What is this?
Incredible.
I forget what this is. I think
way
this
to go,
is the
Wes,
part,
man.
Yeah, I think this is the part where he goes through the languages. See, shit, he underlines shit. Yeah, highlights and underlines stuff that's difficult to see. But whoever this dude is, he made it really digestible. Like he took all of the meat of the work and put it all pretty easy to follow, because it's easy to get lost in the I don't want to say fluff, but it kind of is fluff. Sure. You know, you gotta explain stuff, but
it can get really intimidating to even start because a lot of it goes over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know.
But yeah, they got like diagrams how to set up like your ritual rooms and stuff.
Wow.
And all sorts of crazy cool stuff in here. I'm a super huge fan of Israel Regardie and all of his work. Everything that he's done has been super pure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Super pure. And where all this started, really, as far as practice, was the Eastern stuff, like Qigong, doing the Qi balls and manipulating the tinfoil pyramids and all that shit. So I wigged out. I had indulged in psychedelics, and that was a life-changing experience. I did it very irresponsibly.
What psychedelics are we talking here?
Mainly acid, but the most important ones were mushrooms, DMT.
I was going to ask if you dabble with DMT.
Yeah, DMT, not too much. Around the time that I had got my hands on DMT, I had already been basically bitch slapped by the universe. You know?
Yeah.
So I was a little cautious, and so I didn't smoke nearly as much as I could have. And
Sure.
So there's this substance called 4-ACO-DMT, and it's basically powdered psilocin. So the digestive process of mushrooms goes mushrooms, psilocybin, then psilocin, and in between there, 4-ACO-DMT is one of those alterations of the molecule. So you can buy legally powdered form of 4-ACO-DMT, and you ingest it, and instantly you start tripping. And it was nuts. I put it in my water. I put I think 0.125 micrograms. It's either 0.125 or 0.025. It's just like the smallest little amount. Into the water, down it, take a shit, and before you can get done pissing, you're tripping.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
And so
interdimensional beings and all, huh?
yeah, seriously. Yeah, that shit's fucking weird. You know?
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until, you know, the machines present themselves and start talking to you.
Start venturing into the fourth and fifth dimensions.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, I stressed myself out way too bad on that, but you know, I kind of needed to satisfy the child in me, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're raised in that kind of atmosphere, you kind of feel like your childhood's taken from you. You're kind of forced to live a certain way. So yeah, I get it. I mean, I grew up in the same situation. Well, not very same, but similar situation, I should say.
I grew up in a United Pentecostal church.
So yeah.
Until,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically I liken it to an occult, especially the politics that are involved and how they try to remove you from society,
right?
And everything else. And you know, especially going through your adolescent years and being that far removed from society and having to dress a certain way, you know, especially if you do the apostolic teachings, which the churches that I went to did. It just makes it very hard for you to travel through those formative years that you already feel awkward and trying to find your place as it is.
Yeah.
And you know, it took me forever to get over that. I know probably I didn't externalize that to a lot of people, but I mean, it was very difficult. And, you know, even today, I consider myself agnostic, although I think I'm an atheist, but it's just things have been ingrained into me psychologically so bad for so many years. Like, I just have this lingering,
repulsion.
I don't know, absolutely. It's like, it's something that I can't control.
Yeah.
You know? But I've heard a lot of people using, back to our discussion on, you know, psychedelics and mushrooms in particular to help kind of get over some of those hurdles, mental hurdles. I've heard DMT helps a lot, actually. if you just at least have an experience with it, because it knocks down many walls that you have, mental blocks that you have in particular.
Yep. I did not realize how fucked up I was mentally and not morally, just logic and reasoning and the way I think about things. I never realized who the fuck that was, you know? And it wasn't until after the fact, all the dust settles, you know, I had gotten clean off of drugs, and after everything settled, I'm like, who the fuck am I looking at in the mirror? You know what I mean? And, you know, that's another process that it's necessary, but that's another process that is to be endured for sure. You know, trying kind of reconstructing who you are, you know, based off your experiences, and a lot of the I think a lot of my memories beforehand got wiped, because there was a lot of space made for more to be built, and what was in that space, I think, pretty sure was a good chunk of my childhood, but at the same time, there was a reason all of that.
Yeah,
all of that got filtered out, and so it's a very, very, very long and drawn out conversation, but
sure,
it's trippy, man.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I'm into that shit. I love reading about that shit, so I'll talk about that all day.
Sick, yeah.
And we're all guys that's dealt with, you know, broken home type situations, stuff like that, especially in those early formative years, you know, talking elementary, pre-elementary years. And there's a lot of things that you do, even at a young age, that people don't realize. You go into survival mode and you store away memories and instances. And, like, especially once I became a father in particular, like, I noticed, like, some things, like, remanifesting themselves and, like, memories. Like, maybe I was in a situation with my kid, and it would, like, just drum something up in the past that I'd never even thought about since, you know, being the age of my children currently.
That's I actually think about that a lot. That's what makes me scared about having kids, for sure. It's, you know, all of the past. Like, am I gonna make the right decisions? Am I gonna slack? You know, slacking in that sense is a huge stress for me. I don't have any kids yet, but you know, I do not want to fall into those same patterns that I was put in, you know?
Well, I can already tell you're on the right track because you're asking those questions.
Right.
Because it took me a long time to understand that too. You know, unfortunately, I feel like I maybe didn't even fully grasp it until I've had now my third child. But yeah, man, it's you know, being a parent, there's millions of parenting books out there, but you know, you really have to just kind of find your way and just try to break the cycle of bullshit that you went through in your life. Yeah. It's really the best advice I can give anybody.
Yep. I agree with that. Man.
Yeah. It's, I always think about having my own kid, but, you know, I feel like I need to
live life a little bit.
Live life first. Yeah, I'm not trying to.
We all three have kids, we're telling you, man. Live life.
Things change, man. Things change when you start having kids. Yeah. It's not so easy to, like, hey, I got this song idea. I'm going to run in here and riff that real quick. I'm going to print that so I don't forget it. And before you know it, it's like, oh, honey, you got to change the baby's diaper. And,
or, Daddy, I need to wipe my ass.
Right.
Yeah. Sidetracked, and it's 9 p.m. and fuck, I got to work it. I got to get up for 4 o'clock in the morning, and you know.
Yeah.
So you know, it gets away real quick, man.
It's a good time though. It is.
Dude, yeah. I imagine. I always think about the good times that could have.
Yeah.
It could be. And yeah, I'm only 23, so I think I have a still a little bit. Yeah.
You got plenty of time.
I want to go back to 23, boys.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if I was back at that age, what kind of shenanigans we'd be up to.
Dude.
I know that was some of our hardest partying years.
I would just be blacked out, injuring myself all the time.
Man, I have horrible party stories. In high school, I almost got arrested. My mom was never home at our apartment. And so I was like, hey, you're never home. Yeah, I'm never home. Like, okay, well, I'm going to party. And so everybody would always be over at my house. And I think it was the 5th of July. 5th of July, and there was still hella fireworks. And I was drunk and high, and I was amped up. And I grabbed the mortars. I go out on the patio or second floor. I hold my hands out and start shooting mortars off the patio. And so we're like, fuck this shit. Let's go down to the field and light them off. And so we go down to the field, and before we could even get there, got light shining in my face. What are you doing? Like,
Did Macho Man Randy Savage come in?
What are you doing? And I've had to swim from the cops before. It was high school era, full on GTA 5 stars, San Andreas. But no, I never got into a whole lot of trouble. But
somehow we didn't either.
Yeah, we didn't either, but there was a few scares here.
Yeah, definitely a few scares, but yeah. I think it
was like the second time I ever had been to a party I was with this guy at an apartment, and everybody heard cop sirens, and like somebody's passing a blunt around the room, and everybody was drinking. There was a lot of underage kids there drinking and shit too, and like we bailed out a window onto a roof of a business, and hid out because we thought the cops were coming up there to like inspect everything. And then we like waited, and then we went down. We were driving his mom's truck because like we were having to drive her around at the time because she had like a DUI and shit. So we had to take her to and from work. And it was already almost 5 o'clock in the morning. We had to pick her up from work. He was loaded. I was straight edge at the time, and so I'm sitting there like I can drive us. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm too paranoid. I gotta sleep this on." So we're like sitting in a Ford F-150 with like no back seat, just like a driver's seat and a passenger seat up in the front. Yeah. And like it was a pretty terrible night, honestly, but it's a good story now.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it was the second or third time I ever tripped acid. I was riding in the back seat of my buddy's town car, and
Lincoln Town Car.
Town Car. Yeah. I was sitting on the hump, dude. I was humping it, and so it was 5 of us, and 4 of us were tripping. The driver was not, but we were driving on Allen Road. I don't know if you guys know where Allen Road is. I think it's in Jefferson County somewhere. It's like on the border of Jefferson County and St. Louis County. All back roads, super windy.
Yeah.
We were tripping, and 2 of my friends were hanging out the side of the car, sitting on the seat, holding on to the handle, like the top handle.
Oh shit!
And we were driving, and we hit a straight, and the driver's like, "You guys ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?" And he turns all the lights off while they're hanging out. Yeah, we're all fritzed out on fucking acid. Didn't know if it was real or not. So it could have been just like straight bunk. Like, what is it? NBOME, NBOME, research chemicals. No idea. So he did that. It felt like an eternity. It was only a couple seconds, but it felt like an eternity.
Oh,
and
God.
Yeah, I remember grabbing my buddy's belt loops. I was like, "Don't fucking fall." And then he turns the lights on. He's like, We're fine. Don't worry about it." Shit like that. It was always fun.
Yeah.
Skateboarding around Baldwin. It was fun.
We our last episode we ended up kind of on random party stories from back in the day, and so many lists that the debauchery was pretty infamous. We used to live. My old buddy Brandon, who's been on the show several times, he and I had an apartment up above Nature's Cup, which was a coffee shop, but it was a music venue also.
Oh,
and
cool.
for a while, it was the music venue, in the Farmington area. Like, a lot of shows came there. Like, an old grind band, Sender Receiver, they played there. We mentioned Live by Mistake earlier. They played there. And then there was, like, some more, like, well-known bands. Yeah. Sunset Tragedy was a band from around the area that played there pretty routinely, excuse me. I think Crypt 33 had a show there at one point, too.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, there was which was a punk band, but it was a pretty happening place, and people ended up upstairs, downstairs, and downstairs, upstairs, where our apartments were at. So where the party started and stopped was a little confusing sometimes.
Nice, yeah.
And
that's a sick setup.
Yeah, and we had some bands crash with us occasionally here and there too. So got to meet a lot of people, and that parlayed into us networking when Ridge and I were in a hardcore band. A lot of opportunities too, but a lot of fond memories there. And another big venue down in this area was Barbarino's, which that was really the venue, even though there were others like the Rock House. But Barbarino's had a lot of bands that went on to do bigger and better things.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen bands like Silverstein, I think there. Didn't Silverstein play there?
Yeah.
Fall Out Boy. I mean, I'm trying to think. I wrestled a bear once, I think, played there.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, Ridge and I played a show with...
Oh, yeah, you guys played that show, didn't you?
We played that show, and
Yeah.
the vocalist
didn't do vocals.
such, I don't know.
Cold or some shit.
So they just played
She was
their
sick.
Spitalfield. I did
Come
forget about
smoke all
Spitalfield.
of our weed, if you remember.
Yeah.
I can't sing, but I can smoke all your weed.
We got a question in from our watchers on Twitch now. Zach is asking us, what's the loudest band that you've ever seen? And really, we'll take the room, but Noah, I'm going to ask you first. What's the loudest band you think you've ever seen?
That's a tough one.
Ooh, I know mine.
I wish I could say Motorhead.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
I think High on Fire.
Yeah, they were
I
pretty
seen them
loud.
once, and they were pretty loud. But it was at the pageant, though, so...
Yeah, it's hard to tell there.
That was at the Meshuggah show, wasn't it?
No, they played with Converge, Deathlock, and Mastodon. Or not Deathlock.
Deathclock.
Deathclock.
Deathclock closed.
Yeah,
Deathclock. Was it Brendan Smalls and
Yeah.
everything? Oh, dude, that's awesome. Testament drummer and all that. I forgot his name.
No, Incantation was the loudest show I've been to.
Ooh.
Take that back.
Inca-
Incantation. Yep. Yeah, Incantation's sick. That was, dude, fucking Morbid Angel, Incantation. Those two bands set me off writing riffs.
Honestly, I gotta throw their name out there, Fister. That last show I
Fister.
went to at the Sinkhole,
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that. You
That
said that
was-
show was loud.
that might have been the loudest show I'd ever been to. Granted, I was literally standing face to face with Marcus almost the whole time. The guitars.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's also a small room, so everything's loud in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
it was full of people too. So I mean, it should have helped deaden the sound. But when you're in the front like that, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Failure's up there. I feel like.
Mine, the loudest show I ever went to, loudest band was the Melvins.
The Melvins.
No
Yeah.
shit.
That's a fucking
Yeah.
once-in-a-lifetime show.
I think I seen them. It was only them and Helms Ali, this band from like somewhere near Seattle or something. But it was just like your clothes are moving, your teeth hurt,
Yeah.
Man.
no earplugs, like, and it was
Wow.
it was at the Firebird years ago, and it was like they were over capacity. I know they were.
Man.
You couldn't move, and then your whole body was just hurting from how loud.
Dude.
Your bones hurt when you left.
Yeah, the Firebird, as a venue, the Firebird was really loud too. I
Yeah, it
remember
was.
seeing Earthless. I saw Earthless at the Firebird.
Oh, that would be
That
sweet.
that was loud as fuck.
They fucking rip.
Oh, dude. Super rip.
Yeah.
Super rip. Yeah.
Josh, what about you? Loudest show that you can recall you've been to?
I think probably, I always refer to the show, but it's still one of my favorite shows. It's probably that Chariot show at the Small Creepy, at Creepy 2.
Yeah.
That show was loud, and it was so packed, and it was just like the crowd was the sea. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of flowed with the crowd throughout the whole night.
Waving.
Yeah, I mean, it was an intense show, yeah. That was a really loud show. But we were really close, too, so that was probably a lot to do with it, too.
I've seen Converge several times, and there's been times that I thought that they were extremely loud. You know what? I forgot. We saw fucking Torch.
The Torch was very loud as shit. Hell Night is insanely loud from St. Louis.
Whips Chains is really fucking loud. That's the guy from Coliseum.
No, my Kiss. I will say it. Kiss was insanely loud.
Really?
Kiss
was. And this was like the last, their last go or whatever.
It's like one of them.
My uncle took me and my brother, and we were just like, "Yeah, dude, let's go see it." And we were in seats, and it was just fire going out. And
hell of a show, though. I'm sure.
Super loud. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. Shit. I remember.
Back in the day, we used to play pretty loud.
Yeah, we did. Well, that was because it was like 2 full stacks with JMP 45 and AC 30.
Dude, JMP 45, no way.
Yeah.
Dude, do you still have it?
No, it was our bassist at the time, so I was borrowing it.
I was going to say, I'll buy it from you.
That was probably already been sold.
Shit.
Has been.
Man, I'm really into like those like the 50-watt high gain amps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really liking the new 5150s. There's one with EL34s set up like a Marshall. Dude, every time I see it, my mouth waters. I don't ever pull the trigger on it. Like there's other
they're
amps.
Not too crazy, if I remember right.
Yeah, they're not too crazy expensive. Like my Ampeg, I bought one. Yeah, I got my Ampeg for $1,000, so I can't just spend $1,000 on the 5150. So, but I just don't.
Right.
Eventually, I'll do it. I think if I'm not using Marshall, I'll probably use the 5150 EL34. The other ones I don't like. I don't know why. And then probably. I really like how.
Here, Noah, I want to ask you too if you use any guitar pedals or effects in particular. I know you mentioned you're probably not writing a lot of leads on the newer album, but obviously sometimes those are employed. But anything you're fond of in particular in the pedal game?
So for the for my signal chain, what I'm doing is I'm doing Boss bass overdrive into a Boss super overdrive. I do the bass overdrive to kind of EQ the super overdrive going into the high gain channel. And I don't think I'm gonna switch it up. If anything, I'll add like an amp detonator for ABY, because what I was using to split was I was using a MXR 10-band EQ. It has 2 outputs, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just use the second output for the second rig. But I think this time it'll be proper to get the actual ABY. Still works. As far as pedals, if I'm running, I really, really, really enjoy how Bolt Thrower set up their guitars. What they do is they do a tube power amp and then a Boss multi-effects unit. So they got their Boss basically solid state preamp going into the tube power section. I really like that, and for that reason I have a Boss HM3, and I dime it out, and then I put a I wouldn't say I boost it, but I more so cut some of the low end out of my guitar signal before going into it. And so I use that for my secondary setup if I'm doing that. But I think I'm really torn between the 5150 and the Bolt Thrower setup, because the Bolt Thrower setup is super cheap, man. Get a 25 watt power amp. I think what I'm using or what I was using an orange Terror stamp, and there's an effects loop. I just plug the HM3 into the effects loop and dime everything out, and the loudness is perfect for the basement.
I've got one of those Terror stamps, and they're little monsters. Yeah,
they're sick. You do a lot with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Super sick.
Yeah, the first time I first got it, I was like, I'll try and track a rhythm part with it. So I ran it through my interface, and I didn't even have it up to like 3 or 4 on the volume. And I went to go hit like I think it was like drop tune, detuned or something, and I just like blew my fucking eardrums out because I went straight into the headphone signal off the pedal, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible! Like, I don't think I've ever played anything this loud in this interface or platform.
Yeah, I think one thing that I would like to do for engineering is after I get the cabs rebuilt, what I want to do is I want to run a frequency sweep through the cab to basically create my own IR impulse response. So that way, whenever I'm doing the DI section of the guitar recordings, we'll have the Bloodspawn impulse response, basically. And so that'll be my next step with as far as like the engineering setup. I'm using Ableton to do everything.
Ableton Live, yeah.
Yeah, I've been using it for like 10 years, so it's like just keep using it.
Yeah, and when you use what you're familiar with, you probably got a good workflow at this point, and there's no reason to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of the audio effects on Ableton are a little weak compared to some VSTs that you can get, but for death metal, it's surprisingly really, really good. Like, really, really good. And if I wasn't doing death metal, to be honest, I would be doing fusion jazz. Because I'm super into fusion jazz. All the Japanese shit.
Yeah.
Mint.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like all the old gems,
right?
Crate diggers, I call them. And but yeah, I really enjoy fusion jazz. Really enjoy old country, like the old country, like Willie Nelson's Redheaded Stranger,
like
Outlaw Country, and really like that shit. I really like bluegrass. Bluegrass is one of my.
There's usually a lot of crossover with bluegrass and people that are into either black or death metal even, and a lot of it I think goes into the technicality of the guitar playing. And
there's that one guy on TikTok that was doing like Raining Blood bluegrass style.
Yeah,
that guy was phenomenal, man. He was writing all kinds of different tracks, bluegrass style.
Man, I remember when Rob Scallon was doing the banjo covers, or he would do the shovel covers, I think.
Yeah.
I did a couple shovel covers. That shit's sick. And then what else? Really like psychedelic music, classic rock, psychedelic.
Yeah.
And then I also really, really enjoy Memphis rap and Texas rap.
Hell yeah,
like
Memphis
old
rap.
School.
3-6, baby.
Yeah, 666, bro.
Yeah.
And
those my boys right there.
Yep. Everything from Screwed Up Click to UGK to
UGK.
3-6 Mafia. Really, really enjoy Project Pat. Frasier ended up creating his own group in the 90s. There's a lot of really underground Memphis rap groups that are super, super good. There's also surprisingly a lot of college kids around that time put out mixtapes, but then never did anything after that. And if you can find those are the best tapes out of the entire thing. The best ones.
The hidden gems.
Hidden gems, dude. You got to really search for it.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like more so. Like, there's not like a ton of modern day rap that I like. I mean, I like, Kendrick Lamar. I think he's kind of a Renaissance guy. But as far as big names, it's limited that I like to follow. But I like people that are more in the hip hop realm, if you will. I can't ever get away from, Mobb Deep to me is one of the best groups that there ever was. Perhaps created my favorite rap album of all time. Wu-Tang Clan, can never go wrong with them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just things in that hip hop realm of things. I just don't feel like that there's anything coming out present day that kind of captures that same.
And everything's
energy.
a sample too.
Have you checked out Coast Contra?
I have not.
You need to.
All right.
They're new, and they do strictly old school East Coast stuff.
Cool.
Phenomenal. The four
Sounds
dudes.
right up my alley.
Yeah, four dudes. They even imitate the cadence of a lot of the guys back then, and super sick. Super sick. There's another one. His name is Mavi. He's out of New York. Mavi. He doesn't really have boom bap beats. He'll more so put a sample on, like a soul sample, and then he'll almost do like a spoken word, like straight.
I'm all right with that.
Straight poetry. Yeah. Phenomenal. Such
Open
good
Mike
shit.
Eagle kind of dabbles into that sometimes.
Open Mike Eagle, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know of Loop Rat?
Sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
They're from St. Louis, and they're a rap group, but there's only one or two rappers, and then they have a full jazz band, and they actually make the songs, and then they play them live, and then the rappers will rap over them live.
That's dope. I would be way into that.
Nobody does that. It's
Loop Rat.
Loop Rat, and I think
that's
David.
dope,
David, the main rapper, he owns his own farm, and they actually go to they sell at a lot of farmers markets, and they do all of the exotic fruits and stuff. A lot of stuff that's really difficult to get over in the States. They grow them there, and super cool dudes.
That is cool.
I got a buddy we went to school with, Jesus Rose. He's out in California now. We had him on the show and early on in the show, and he's actually getting ready to release some new material. But he cut his teeth in the St. Louis scene himself. But he had some family members that kind of came before him. Jay Red was a guy that's pretty popular in this area, is his cousin. And he had a bit of a following, when you say, Rich, for a little while.
Yeah,
about 15 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, we're looking
playing at pops and stuff too, wasn't
it? Yeah, for sure. I mean, we would like to get more hip hop artists and stuff. But I'm not really aware of too many. In the St. Louis in particular. Yeah, for sure. But maybe I'll see if somebody in Loop Rat's interested. That intrigues me very greatly, and I would like to actually see them perform live too. So.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know if they've been doing any shows. I think they have an Instagram. Let me double check just so I'm not lying. Lie by mistake.
Yeah. Haha.
Haha.
Yeah, I actually noticed earlier when we were scouring for questions, some folks were very happy and pleased to hear us name drop Lie by Mistake.
Oh yeah.
Lie by Mistake toured with a lot of bands back in the day. They were on several tours with Between the Buried and Me.
Okay.
Oh, good God. I know I'm forgetting a ton of other bands that they toured with.
They played with Dillinger, didn't they?
They played with Dillinger several times, yeah. Dillinger's, of course, an all-time favorite for me.
Oh, yeah.
I would say Lie by Mistake's kind of similar to Dillinger, although the instrumentation was different. It was basically just a drummer, guitar player, and a keyboard player. The keyboardist did the vocals.
That's cool.
But he did a lot. He did
a ton.
Like, it was otherworldly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
Man, that's cool shit. I really hope when we get back up and going, I really hope I can bring a lot of these out of town bands into St. Louis, because I think it's needed that, you know, St. Louis has doom metal and we got black metal, but there's nothing for death metal.
Right.
There's only two other bands that I can think of in St. Louis that are death metal, and one of the bands they're all in college right now, so they're all separated and stuff like that. And so something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Yeah. You guys are doing a good job of it. I mean, when you get back to it.
Yep. We're gonna have all of our friends come through. We're gonna go see everybody first. I imagine they'll be coming through here and there as well. But we really our next step is to go out there and actually meet these people face to face and build face to face relationships with them. And hopefully, what I want to do. If we can do it, I really want to put St. Louis on to death metal. I really hope something like that can happen. Like to see a Murder City Death Fest, that would be absolutely killer. That was actually my first idea before doing Bloodspawn. I was wanting to start putting on shows, and I wanted to do Murder City Death Fest. And basically have everybody from St. Louis come together and play shows, play a set, make it an all-day thing, have people come in from out of town to play.
That'd be dope.
That'd be awesome.
For sure.
That would be
there's
sick.
There's a really badass band called Black Braid. They're actually all Native American black metal band. Have you heard of them by chance?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
I think they're from, I can't remember now. I want to say Oklahoma, but that doesn't seem right to me.
From South Dakota or something?
That might be the case.
I don't know. They came up, I was checking them out the other day.
But, Black Braid, I stumbled upon them on Bandcamp. I think they were recommended in, kind of one of their daily lists. And they actually have a video premiere tomorrow. And then their album comes out on the 26th, which I pre-ordered. But I don't, they're one of the few bands that I've actually I heard the first track of their music and instantly within 45 seconds I was like, I love this band. And it's kind of rare to come across that nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm way behind the concept that they're an all Native American band as well. But Black Braid. And those guys are dope. I really enjoy their music.
That's sick. Yeah. See,
doesn't say where they come from on that.
I'm probably wrong, but I feel like it was the Dakotas. I'm not sure.
See,
Adirondack Wilderness. So wherever the hell that's at.
Adirondacks.
Yeah,
that's north New York. Northern
really?
part of New York. Yeah, I think that's usually super uppity. Lots of money around there, but Adirondacks. Well, there could be multiple. The only one I know of is in New York.
I do love their description. It says indigenous black metal band from the solitude of the Adirondack Wilderness.
Part is New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super sick.
Shit, I would have never put that together because when you think of Native American communities and stuff like that, you don't really think East Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
You think more Midwest, typically, or West in most instances.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're, man, really wish we could get something going on in St. Louis. That is my ultimate step. Before I leave the city, before I move out of the city, I want to make some sort of an impact to where other people are coming here to play death metal.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think the music scene in general is coming back in full force, and there's a hunger for a variety as well.
Yep.
I've seen, punk shows boom. We talked to a guy a few episodes back, Jason Hebb. Pink Pit is a venue in St. Louis that I'd never heard of before, where they're doing kind of basement shows and stuff like that. And some of the old school hardcore scene, like hardcore punk, is starting to come back, and they're having shows there and DJ sets and so on. But it sounds like there's a real variety starting to happen.
Yeah.
I think St. Louis kind of got overwhelmed with a lot of, screamo bands and things like that, and things got a little monotonous in the scene. I wouldn't necessarily call them emo bands, but bands that consider themselves emo. Things like that, and I don't want to say people's tastes soured on the local music scene, but I think COVID had a way of resetting all of that too. and people are just like have a hunger for live shows and doing things. I mean, anything that I've been to in St. Louis has been limited, but has been completely jam packed, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, I do know that back in the day, Arch Enemy came through, and there's something that happened with that, and then a lot of people got super upset. These aren't my words; these are someone else's words. What I heard was back in the day, Arch Enemy came here and got their gear stolen, and they were thinking that it was a inside job with the venue. Yeah. And so they put that on the internet, and then everyone's like, fuck St. Louis, fuck St. Louis, fuck St. Louis.
Well, the Ready Room in particular had a really bad run of thefts up in the Grove. And they closed, and now they've relocated into, I think it's the old Atomic Cowboy. Is that right?
Oh, I thought they closed.
No, the Ready Room's reopening across the street now.
Yeah, that would have been the Atomic Cowboy.
Yeah, Atomic Cowboy, yeah.
But, there was a bad string of thefts at the Ready Room. Like, even some prominent bands had some things stolen as well. So, but, yeah, it's, hopefully we're past a lot of that. But I think that the Ready Room in particular as a venue kind of set a bad precedent for a lot of bands, and word traveled. And so on.
I'm sure they didn't mean to at all.
No, it's not their fault at all. But there was a lot of questionable housing and things in and around the area. You could just literally travel over a street parallel to I forget what that road is there, but in the Grove. But you just
Manchester.
I think it is Manchester, but you travel one street over parallel, and you're already into some older section housing and things of that ilk. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually lived in a loft on Manchester recently while I was at school. I think it was 2020 I lived there, and they had renovated a lot of the stuff. There's a lot more businesses over there. It's nicer. I would compare it. It doesn't compare completely, but I would compare it more to Delmar Loop. It's giving me like a Delmar Loop vibe.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And Manchester itself has even developed out down further now. There's a lot of businesses that have popped up down through there, but I know some of that was affected in the flooding too that happened here recently up in St. Louis. So, not quite sure if everybody's back up at full force. Up and down.
Yeah.
Well, Noah, we thank you for your time today and everything that you shared with us. It's been quite an interesting conversation with some areas that I didn't expect, talking about Memphis rap and
hell yeah,
getting in the weeds with some psychedelics and
HVACs.
Talk HVACs and our troubled childhoods. It's always a good time when we get into that.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you for pushing the GoFundMe. That's really fucking cool, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, if you guys are still listening out there on Twitch and you guys want to take a couple seconds, click on the GoFundMe link in the chat, and if you can spare a few bucks, help out our good friends Bloodspawn here, man. They need all of our help. So
any bit helps in the end to achieve the end goal. And the good thing about GoFundMe and things of that ilk is they allow for people in Noah and his band's instance to kind of keep those things running and open until they've met their goals. So hopefully after today's conversation, we can get a little bit more of a push and do some social media blitz and so on and so forth. But we're going to continue to share snippets of our conversation through our social medias, the video proponent, and then the audio feed will follow a few days later as well. So, no, it's been a pleasure, sir. Hopefully we get out to see you guys whenever you guys are back up and running full scale. If you guys got anything new to promote, whether it's a show, a single, send it to us. We'll be happy to do it for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Noah. Have a good night, man.
All right. Yeah, have a good night. Bye.
Hey, this is Josh from ATI Podcast. For show updates and news about the podcast, follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ATI Podcast 22, on Twitter at podcast_ATI, on Instagram at the ATI Podcast on TikTok at ATI Podcast. DMs are always welcome. Have a question for the show? You can always email us at atipodcastquestions@gmail.com. Stay safe out there.